All right, Howard, why don't you go ahead and tip us off?
Hey, Bill, good to chat with you. Wanted to talk a little more about the sixth Woman of the Year conversation. We talked a little bit about Kelsey and the year she's having. If you look at, things like win shares, for instance, Jerica is ahead of all the other bench players in the league. I'm just wondering how you see it and whether you see them both as in that conversation right now for, sixth Woman of the Year.
Well, De'Erica's won it twice in a row. There's no question that, she's accepted that responsibility and has been very successful at it. Kelsey's a little bit different. Kelsey can be a starter on many, many teams, and for us too. I asked her at the beginning of the year very clearly, I asked her to please come off the bench for us and to sacrifice, whatever, whoever, however, for the good of the whole, and she embraced it. No player likes to do that. They have ambitions for being starters and, being scorers and all stuff like that. She accepted it. She's thrived in it. And if you had to put me on a thing, I'd take Kelsey Plum as a sixth Woman of the Year all day long right now. I think she's earned that. She's sacrificed and done everything that we've asked her to do.
And just related to that, you have had success with players coming off the bench, every player, everywhere you've been. Do you think that makes it easier for you to make the case and for players to buy in, knowing that they've seen players can play in your system and have really significant roles off the bench?
I played him with the best of all time in Vinnie Johnson. He was the epitome of sixth man back in that time slot. Another story was also Bill Davidson, who was a great businessman, told me one day that he learned the lesson about bench from having Vinnie Johnson come off the bench, that you need people in background, you need bench players, you need to stack your team with people willing to sacrifice and play their roles. And everywhere I've gone, it's been a big hallmark of my teams because that's what is needed. And if you can get players to embrace that, it's all the better. It's tough. I mean, it's a tough road to go for talented players, but the bottom line is you also have to win. You also have a winning team. If we had a losing team and you're asking players to do that, well, then that doesn't work.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Bill, Chicago 3 times in the next 5 games. What different challenges does that present? And what do you see as being the biggest challenges playing Chicago at this time of the year and how they've been playing recently?
Well, Chicago's kind of found their stride in many ways. The early part of the year, they struggled with injuries and whatnot. Now they feel good about themselves. So unfortunately, we're catching them at the wrong time schedule-wise. And plus, we have our own internal issues going on right now with Hamby being out. I think that, there's going to be a very hard-fought game. They're trying to get positioning for playoffs, wherever that's going to fall. They're trying to, make no mistake, the playoffs have started now. Everybody's going for seeding, the referees letting more go. So I think it's going to be a very good test for us as far as to see where we're at mentally. It'll be a more physical game. It'll be execute a little bit better, but bottom line is we're going to have to play harder collectively than we had so far. And you asked me another question. I don't remember what it was.
That was all Chicago related. That works.
Yeah, whatever. Is that it?
No, Nick, you're up.
Okay. Hey, Coach, how you doing?
Good.
Defensively, where do you see this squad at this stage of the season as you guys continue to prepare into the playoff push? And part 2 of my question is, how do you go about trying to not just to defend Candace Parker, but go ahead and still focus on the team as a whole, even though that team moves as Candace moves?
Well, I think, defensive wise, I think we're making progress. We started the season strong, and then in the middle of the season, we kind of took a step backwards defensively. Now I think we're starting to focus a little bit more, getting ready for the playoffs. I think Candace Parker at times is not so much their primary weapon, but more of a complementary person that spreads the floor a little bit, that opens up for everybody else, like a Quigley, or you're also seeing now a Copper having lanes to drive because people are sticking too close to Candace Parker. So it's a team game. It's not an individual game, as we preach on our side. And I think, while she's not a primary weapon of any magnitude for them, she opened up the floor for other players.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. We'll be back momentarily with Kelsey Plum.